This podcast is for educational purposes only, does not constitute legal advice, and does not create an attorney-client relationship. If you need legal assistance about a legal problem, contact an attorney.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Know Your Regulator, the podcast. I am your host, Cimone Murphree, and joining me today is a paralegal of ours, Miss Lesa Surber. How are you doing, Lesa?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Good. We're happy to have you. And I know that we're going to talk about a really important topic that I feel can span over all areas of law, not just administrative. That is how to effectively communicate with your attorney and support staff. And Lesa, you've got a firsthand look at this. So really excited to hear, your experiences, your insights. I'm sure our viewers will have a lot of takeaways that they can then use to, enhance their own communication. So what would you say is the biggest thing, to effectively interact with your attorney and support staff?
Being prepared, and being prepared for meetings. Beforehand, write down those questions, those concerns. Anything that you want to ask your attorney, it's your time. So make good use of it. And also, if you have any documents that we need, make sure that you've sent those ahead of time. Or if you don't know what to send, maybe that's something you should ask. These are wonderful questions, things that you can prepare ahead of time, and also during your meeting, ask those questions.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Like you said, that's, your time with the attorney, and that's your first meeting with them. So you want to make it as productive as you can right off the bat.
Definitely. Also, a good segue into that would be to definitely communicate clearly and honestly. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, Cimone.
Oh, yeah, no. I would say that's probably, the second most important thing is to communicate clearly and honestly. Be transparent, provide your attorney with all of the facts, not just the ones that paint you in a really good light, but they need to know the full story so they can fully represent you and defend you. If you leave some things out, there may come a time when that comes out and your attorney is not prepared to respond to that. So it's very, very important that you communicate honestly, you communicate clearly to where you and your attorney are both on the same page. Lesa, I know you may have some insight as to how can that affect your representation if you're not, communicating with your attorney.
If you're not communicating clearly and you're not telling them everything, that may hinder your outcome. If you're upfront, like you said before, and honest with everything, we're not here to judge. We're here to help you. And the best way to help you is to be honest and upfront, because it can make your case run smoother. And also it will keep a lot of miscommunication and mistrust in the future when you're building your relationship with your attorney.
Yes, I would say definitely that trust between you and your attorney is so important. You've really got to make sure that you continue to respond, continue to communicate clearly, honestly, so that you guys can have the best relationship that you can. Your attorney's on your side.
Yep. Another thing too is to develop that relationship, not only with trust and communicating clearly, is understand your attorney's limitations. There has to be realistic outcomes. Even though you're like, I'm innocent, I know I am, that's fine, but the law moves slowly. And you have to understand that responding and communication and having correspondence, it takes time. So having a clear outcome. If you have any questions about maybe what that outcome may be, you can go through maybe some different scenarios with your attorney. Again, during your meeting with them, that might be another question you can write down or concern. What would an outcome be? What am I supposed to expect? Have you dealt with something like this before? How did that turn out? Each scenario is different. Each case is different, but it's more likely your attorney is very experienced and they could communicate with you on those different scenarios.
And it seems like, like you said, the law moves really slow. And I think a lot of patience in the legal world is needed. It's patience is just so essential when you're working with an attorney and you're dealing with a legal challenge. It can be so stressful, and you definitely want to get it done with as soon as possible, but sometimes that is just not an option. And so patience is huge, huge. In kind of going back to that trust with your attorney, trust that your attorney is going to do what they say that they're going to do, and just be patient with them. In that patience, another big thing is to respect your attorney's time. Make sure you're on time for those meetings. Your attorney's time is valuable, and you are paying for it too. So limit those non-essential communications. It is important to stay in touch, but you don't need to, vent to your attorney. You don't need to ask your attorney all the time how things are going. Trust that if they've got an update, they'll give it to you. But in any attorney that you hire, they should and will hopefully establish a clear way of communicating, a timeline of communication. That's something that's really big, but make sure that you respect their time as well, that you're doing your due diligence and your part to help make sure that things flow smooth as well.
But moving into that, as well as maintaining a professional relationship, I think we hit all those wonderful key points of, be on time to meetings, be present, do your due diligence, respect their time, and keeping the communications to non-essential communication, email or correspondence, or however the communication has been decided with your attorney, how they prefer to communicate with you. Maintaining a professional relationship with your attorney, that goes very far, because if we can't get a hold of you or you don't communicate with them, your attorney may drop your case because they can't contact you. There's no response. That could be a risk too. And that, again, that could damage your relationship with your attorney, and also any future prospects if you need to use that attorney again. So maintaining a professional relationship, I think, is definitely will help you hit all the 5 points that we've discussed thus far. What do you think, Simone? Okay.
Oh, totally agree. I think that, maintaining a professional relationship kind of just clears up some expectations, some misunderstandings right off the bat. You guys keep it professional the whole way through, and I can't see it going any other way than being successful, Not that the case would be successful, but that, at least your relationship with this attorney is, and you can utilize them in the future, like you said.
Yeah, very, very true.
And another thing I kind of want to add to that is providing feedback to your attorney is not unprofessional. If you have concerns about how your case is going or it's being handled, your attorney should encourage you to talk with them, of course, respectfully. But constructive feedback is so great for any firm. It can help improve communication, any misunderstandings. If you've got a sour taste in your mouth about a legal challenge and the way your attorney is handling it, talk to them. More often than not, they can go in and fix things, and they want to make it right.
Perfect. Definitely. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, it can be, expectations are big, expectations and communications, so big. And speaking of expectations, I would say another really big one, these are all big, but is understanding the fee structure. Law firms have different ways that they operate. Not every firm is the same. Not, even firms in the same area of law may not charge the same way. So it's very important that you understand, the firm's billing practices. You understand how they charge for their services. Is it hourly? Is it a flat fee? Is it contingency? You don't want any surprises later on, and that can just make things so much more stressful. So make sure that you understand the billing practices and the fee structure of your attorney and their firm.
Most definitely. I agree, because sometimes that's That's also another huge complaint. If you don't understand your fee structure before you speak to your attorney, maybe that's one of the questions you need to ask in your meeting. Don't wait for a long period of time and then say, what is this? Why am I getting billed for that?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Understand, follow. If you have questions, please ask us. We're not going to turn you away and say, no, that's unrealistic. How dare you ask us? No, we want to know. We
Yeah.
definitely.
And we want to help. And that's kind of the whole goal of this episode too, is how can we help clients enhance their communication and be more effective and help these cases flow smoother. And Lesa, I think we've given 6 really great tips for our viewers to take away and effectively enhance their communication.
I agree. And I hope that this helps someone out there. If you're listening and wondering, I hope these tips help. And again, you can always reach out to us if you need more tips and tricks.
Well, we are always sharing tips and tricks here at Know Your Regulator, inspiring you to engage with your regulatory agency. If you ever have any questions or anything, please reach out to us. Lesa, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I've had a great time. Our viewers are going to love these tips. Thanks again.
Thank you, Cimone. It was wonderful being here, and reach out if you have any questions.
Know Your Regulator, the podcast that inspires you to engage.